Hello guys, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and yes, I've got another review for you today. I've had one or two people say that all I seem to do lately is reviews. Yes, that's the way it goes. Unfortunately, I've got lots and lots of stuff coming in which I have to review because it's given to me or whatever, and stuff I'm buying and that, and that's just the way it goes. But if you want to see some building action, go and see the Stuka. That's pretty much daily. You'll get an update on that. You get an hour-long video. So and there will be more coming along as well. But I have got more reviews to do, you'll be pleased to know. But this is a review now of a kit that has literally just arrived about half an hour ago at my front door. I have had many requests to buy this kit, probably more requests than I've ever had or interest in any other model I've bought or not bought, but people asking, you know, would you buy this kit? And as you can see from the way I've got this set up, I'm quite a long way away. So you can see it's quite a big one, or at least it's a big box. And it's a kit that a lot of you have asked about. It's a kit that a lot of you want me to build. And it's a kit I've even been sent some aftermarket for before I've even got the kit. So this is it. This is the fairly new, not brand new, 1/48 scale SR-71A Blackbird from Revell. It's a skill level 5. Don't quite know why. I have seen a couple of unboxings of it. It doesn't look that difficult, but maybe it's just because of its size. So it's 1/48 scale, 206 parts, 68.2 centimeters length, and 35.3 centimeters wingspan. So if you've got like a foot wide shelf, this is going to fit on it lovely because it's not very wide, but it is very long. It's sort of longer than this box, and you can see I've got the camera back as far as it'll go, and the box just fits in. So let's have a quick look around the box. The kit number is 04967. I got this from Shop4World, shop4world.com. Found it online, did a quick search, and found it was £67, which is like 20 odd pounds cheaper than most other people. So it is available at a couple of shops for like 72, but they're all sold out. So there we go. So why did I get it? It's a lovely looking thing. It's a great plane. It should be a fairly simple, fairly quick build. As I say, I've had some aftermarket sent to me for it, and you guys have requested it in your droves. So that's why I got it. So let's have a look around the box. Got a bag here trying to escape. So the box is a little bit damaged. Unfortunately, Shop4World just wrapped this in a big sort of black bin liner thing and then sent it. And you can see on the back here where they taped it and everything. So and it's a little bit damaged where people have just picked it up, obviously, as you would, but not to worry. So looking around the box here, we've got the normal sort of Revell bump thing. We've got German and English and French and Italian, Spanish and Dutch or Netherlands. So plenty of languages on there, and it's basically just a quick brief about the aircraft, which I'm going to give you in a minute anyway. So it's showing here this is a built model. It's not 3D images, which is nice to see. The model on the side there with the cockpit glazing open, which is going to be nice to see. It's going to add a bit of interest to a otherwise just black aircraft. We've got the one here with silver tyres. They had aluminium impregnated into the rubber, same as the Valkyrie, basically because of the immense heat in the airframe. We've got you can see here we've got some decals of US Air Force. We have two of the engines. I think they're J58 engines, aren't they? And then we've got a stand here, so you can see you can display the aircraft on its stand with the engines underneath, and you've got the engines there. And from what I've seen, they look quite nice and detailed. Talking about some licensing here, and we can see that it's made in Poland, so it's going to be a nice kit. It's Revell, Germany. So there we go. And as I say, kit number is 04967. So end of the box here, you can just see another image of the box front, and then going around the box here, we've got all the Revell paints recommended. A lot of people say, oh, horrible lucky Revell paints. To brush, they're actually lovely. In the airbrush, if you thin them with their own thinners, they spray beautifully, and they are very, very hard wearing straight onto plastic. I've done some tests if you want to go back and look at some previous videos. They do a massive range of colours. The only trouble is they don't do like RLM02 German grey. They do like silky grey green, or they'll have a silky black matte grey. You know, and it's like just call it Tower Black. You know, they have colours called anthracite and stuff like that. But they are lovely, lovely paints, and when you thin them down with water, they brush beautifully. So I will probably use some on this. Here we've got they're talking about getting their tools and stuff. And you've got this is Revell's own toolkit you can get if you don't have any tools. Here we've got a shop which Revell always do now, which is all the sprues all laid out. Saying here, non-assembled plastic model kit, adhesive and paints required, not included. Similar to the images, illustrated multilingual assembly instructions include extensive directions. And then here you can see we got level 5. So basically, I haven't looked in here, as you can see, these tapes on the end look like they've been pulled off, but it's been where people have been picking it up as a parcel. So if I just grab a knife, we'll cut this open. I'm sure a lot of you that have any interest in this kit whatsoever have already seen a review of it, because there are reviews all over the internet. Some good, some not so, and just go and have a look, see what you like. Unfortunately, it's had a bit of a ding there. I'm just hoping it's not been damaged, this kit, because I don't want to go through the rigmarole of sending it all back. So there we go. So there's the box front. We've cut all the tape away, and as usual, it's a big Revell box. It's probably going to be sprues about this big, but we have got a very, very flimsy box top. But inside we have quite a rigid bottom, which Revell have. I hope they keep this going, because that is properly. It's not as rigid as Trumpeter or anything, but at least it's a lot better than we're used to. And then here on the top of the box, we've got a divider, and we've got our upper and lower fuselage sections. I believe they call this the body, and this is the fuselage. I'm not sure, but anyway. So here you can see it's a big old bird. I'm going to be careful getting these out. Luckily we've got some large connection points on here, otherwise they may have just broken off in the box. But I'm looking here, I can't see any damage, which is a good sign. We do have some very fine detail on here. Got the expansion joints and the stainless steel and everything. You get the fuel running out here where it all leaks out. So you for weathering, the sky's the limit. If you look at some videos, books, images, whatever of the Blackbird, you will see, I mean, you don't have to paint it black. Greys, metallics, dark silvers, you know, you can see when you look at them in the sunlight or whatever, close up from good images, they are just a cacophony, is that the word, of colour. And then we've got this underneath the separator, which I can put to one side over here. We have our sprues, which are all nicely bagged, individually bagged by the look of things. So we've got, oh no, there's 3 in there, so hopefully there's nothing broken. Typical sellotaped bags, which is a nice touch. So the bags are all reusable. We've got some engine sprues there, and then we've got a massive stand. And then here we've got our book of instructions, which has been somehow ripped. That's probably been done by a sprue. Decals are in there. We've got clear parts over here. So that's that. So let me get this cleared off the bench, get the camera in a bit closer, and we'll start to have a good look at the kit. Right, so we've got the manual here. Again, it's a glossy manual, so we all know what that means, don't we? Right, so if you want to know the history about the aircraft, if you don't want to know, just fast forward until I move the instructions. But basically designed by Kelly Johnson from Skunk Works. I think we've all heard of him. He also designed the U2. Amazing guy. Plane was built out of titanium, so they had to basically, you know, before they could even start building the plane, they had to learn to work with a new material. I've worked with titanium myself. It's a very, very hard, very, very light material, and apparently when you get it in like conditions above or below normal room temperature, it strengthens. Obviously it expands with heat, as all metals do, but it's a very, very lightweight, very, very strong, very, very heat resistant material. I think it also is quite brittle. But I work with it in Rolls-Royce, and amazing stuff. Also work with magnesium, by the way, guys. And if you machine magnesium, you take like a tooth how cut, tiny little cut. The swarf that comes off, you have to be really careful because it will catch fire. And if it catches fire, it just ends up like a smouldering. The whole swarf bin under the machine just becomes this huge fire. You always had to have buckets of sand by the machine when you were machining it. But anyway, 1955. The U2 was developed and went out and straight away was tracked by Soviet radar, which they didn't think would happen. And a lot of people think that because of May 1960, the fact that Gary Powers was shot down, that's why they came out of the SR-71. Well, the SR-71 was actually started development in 1955, so it wasn't because of Gary Powers, it was way before that. So you can have an SR-71 or the A-12, as I said earlier. A-12 was a CIA aircraft. It had to be titanium. If it had been aluminium, it would have melted at the kind of speeds. Apparently the surface would get up to like 1,000 degrees or something. I think that was 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, not centigrade. It was stealthy. It wasn't designed to deflect radar, but it did, as I mentioned earlier, because of the chines. You got these chines, the way the fins angled in, the nose cones angled in, all to capture the shock waves. And it turned out that they made it stealthy. They didn't realise they would. A lot of it is plastic. 20% of the aircraft is actually composite, which is amazing to think back in 1955 they were using composite materials on an aircraft like this. And as I said earlier, it's got 100 times smaller radar return image than an F-14. It was rolled out on the 22nd of December 64, and it did 1,000 miles per hour in its first flight, which is just incredible. I think it had something like 36 problems that they knew about before it even took off. Had J58 engines, as I said earlier, and they were jet engines that apparently were only about 17% capable of taking the aircraft to Mach 3, but they added the pulse jet bit onto the back of them, which made them that much more powerful and apparently more efficient. So that was interesting. So yeah, less than 2 minutes after rotate, they could be at 24,000 feet. And on our way to the museum, the one that's at the Smithsonian Museum, actually broke. I've seen 4, 6 and 8 altitude and speed records, which apparently still stand today. So, and it's known as the sled. So that's if you want to look it up on YouTube and see some videos about it, look it up, the sled. So there we go. Right, basically A4 fold out book. It is very thick, 40 pages. And 70 steps, so quite a lot going on, but all in all, it's a very simple kit. So I don't really know whether they've got the instructions really extended, so you've got like 1 or 2 parts per stage. Lovely decal sheet there. Let's have a quick look. It's printed in Italy, and we can see here we have a C. So that's good news. On the bottom there, I've been informed by one of my great viewers that if you have a Z there, it's Zanetti, I think it is, and if you have a C, it's Cartograph. So they're going to be absolutely gorgeous. So we'll put those to one side. So normal sort of Revell instructions these days, all the hints and tips, all our legends here. If you are new to the hobby, familiarise yourself with these. You know, stuff like this one here, do not glue. You know, you can see that there, do not glue, and then this one is paint. Generally means paint it before assembly, but you may make your own mind up on that. And then this one here is another important one, the clock. That means tape it together, clamp it together, wait for it to dry, like you can see here. Okay, so there we go. They're telling us about using their own decal softener, their own glue for clear parts. I don't like that pretty much. And then this star here is saying is not included, so it's basically just showing you that you don't get those in the box. It's not a gift set. There are no paints, brushes, glues or anything. It's just the model. Here's your paint callouts. I believe this is the colour for the main fuselage, which is anthracite, which is a beautiful colour. If you're into your model cars or motorbikes and stuff, that number 09 anthracite, it is the perfect finish and colour for like plastics on the interior or plastics on a motorbike. It is wonderful. It gives a fantastic finish as well. And here they're talking about mixing the paints, which is something Revell always do. It's annoying, but they don't have the colours in their range. So I mean, Tamiya used to do this and nobody moaned about it then, but you know, such is life. So we've got some sprue callouts here. So we've got the main spar going through the fuselage. We've got some bits and pieces of intakes, looks like undercarriage bays or whatever. Clear parts down here. And then going over the page here, we've got the main body, fuselage, whatever you want to call it. The front sections here, and then we've got the main sections here of this is going to be like our wings, engine pods and everything. Bulkheads going in there, looks like the undercarriage bays there, engine parts, undercarriage, and over the page here we got some more parts there. Engines, got two of those, two lots of engines, exhaust there, two lots of engine exhaust there. I wonder if you get exhaust for the aircraft and for the engines. That's one of the things these manufacturers often get wrong. They give you an engine to display but only give you one exhaust, so we shall see. So starting assembly here, fairly basic, putting that great big spine in with these bulkheads. Looks like the front landing gear bay is going in, and you've got some sort of landing light or identification light or whatever there. They're telling you to open the holes here when the display stand is used, so if you're not going to use a display stand, don't open them, you'll get holes in the bottom of your model. So here we're working onto the undercarriage bay. I'm assuming this is the nose gear bay. Yes, this is the nose gear, and they're telling you to put the nose gear leg in. Now, a nice touch, they've made it so the nose gear leg goes in, which is a bit of a pain, but it's only a little bit of the leg. It's just a, if I bring that up and show you close up, you can see it's just a stub. So that's good. So you don't need to glue that in. You can fold that down. It'll stay out of your way. It won't get snapped off. And then when it's time to glue the undercarriage in, you can bring it up and glue your undercarriage in, and then fit in the back wall there or the front wall, whatever it is, to the undercarriage bay. Putting the undercarriage bay together, putting the actuator doors in. I would leave that until afterwards if that will fit in there. I'm sure it will. And then put the undercarriage bay into the fuselage. Fitting those is just asking for trouble. They're going to get broken off. Main gear going together. Oh, I hope we're not going to have to put them in. Yes, we are. We're putting them in as well. Yeah, this needs looking at. There needs to be some alternate method to put this in, because you do not want undercarriage going at this early stage on a model this big. It's going to get broken off. So building up the undercarriage bays, well, after the legs, building up the undercarriage bays, there, more actuators, undercarriage legs going in, and you're fitting the bays in, and then over the page, just checking it's all good. You're going to put your undercarriage actuator into there, and then you've got the upper undercarriage bay roof. Ejector seats going together, two of them, obviously front and rear. You've got the RSO in the back. Seats going together. And then we've got we've got two little pods. We've got the main pilot's pod at the front, and then behind him is the RSO, and they're all going together. Basically, just normal, simple construction. You've got a control column for the pilot. Obviously, there's no control column for the RSO. He had no ability to fly the plane, as far as I know. And then the RSO system's going together with all his radio and gear and everything, and he's got in there. This plane carried no weapons, so he wasn't a weapons officer. There were no guns to fire or anything, it just relied on speed. That looks like the refueling probe going together there. And then adding the refueling probe in, so you can either put the flat door or have the refueling probe open. I don't know if it's swiveled round like a B-52 or if it had a door that opened downwards, I don't know. I'm sure the aftermarket will jump all over this and give us all sorts of bits and pieces. Putting the main fuselage halves together, adding on the tail cone, and then we're going to make a start on the intakes. So we've got our compressor blades there and our first stage compressor and stator fan. And then this is part of the intake, is it still, or are we on to the exhaust? Looks... Can't quite see where this is going. This looks like part of the exhaust, but I could be wrong. Then we've got our intake cones coming together. Don't forget these things actually move forwards and backwards according to the speed of the aircraft, because after Mach 2.6 is it becomes a pulse jet. Intakes around the intake cone there, so we'll have some seams to deal with there. Maybe nice to see if we can actually glue the intake together, deal with the seams, and then slide the cone in afterwards. That would be a nice touch if we can. Or even don't glue the cone to there, and then deal with the intake and then slide that in afterwards, because it looks like that won't go through the back there. Jess, what are you doing? She's chewing up the box. No, come on, leave it. Jess is chewing up the box while I'm doing the review. Obviously something's been in the box. And then we're going to fit the, this is the compressor stages going in here. So that was step 27. So, yeah, so we build up the compressors, and then it looks like we're getting into the exhaust, and then we're back onto the intakes, more intakes, and then we're going to fit the compressors, and then we get back onto the exhaust. It's a bit all over the place. Now this all looks very nice. Obviously it would be nicer in resin, and I'm sure that will come along, but perhaps we could build this up and just put them in loosely with a magnet or a bit of blue tack or something, because I think this would really benefit, because they are big old exhausts on this big bird. And then more work going together there, and then we're fitting the intake and the exhaust into the engine pods. If you notice, we're not actually fitting any engines into here. There is no room for them. And then closing the pods up on the other side, as you can see, and then fitting the exhaust onto there. Seen these engines running on a test bed. That tail area there becomes translucent. You can almost see through it. It's just glowing, and you can almost see through it. Doing the same on the other side, adding on the exhaust, and then adding those little wings onto the body there with the engine pods. We've got the little chines there, and we've got the bigger chines there. This thing, with all its bits and pieces, the way it's designed, with the inward facing, they designed it so that when it hit the sound barrier twice, it would actually, well, 3 times, isn't it? It would actually, the shockwave comes off the nose, and they want everything else that sticks out to hit the shockwave at the same time. So the actual intake cones are angled inwards, and that's for that reason, to hit the shockwave, and the tail planes are angled inwards. And what they didn't realise when they were building it, because radar didn't really exist then, not in its, in its form it does today, they'd actually made an aircraft that had a radar footprint of 1 square metre for something this big, and it was 100 times smaller than an F-14. So incredible. So we've got the noses here. We've got different types of noses. Now I don't know if this is for an A-12, because you had the A-12, which was the original CIA reconnaissance aircraft, and then you had the SR-71, and there was the A-12B, wasn't there, as well, that had the, or was it the SR-71B that had the trainers? It was a trainer that sat behind the pilot, and he actually had a raised cockpit area, much like the what am I thinking of, that German aircraft, the Dornier DO-335 had a raised trainer to go behind the pilot. So our fins going together here, they actually move as like rudders, and then we've got the control surfaces going on the back there. Does it have control surfaces? It must do. And then you've got closed undercarriage doors going in there, so if you build it in flight, you just do all that. And if you're going to build it with its gear down, you're going to assemble the nose gear up here. So the wheels and tyres, no doubt they're going to look better with the resin replacements. Front undercarriage leg going in there, undercarriage doors, and then we're building up the main wheels going on there. And then actuators going in with the gear doors, doing the same on the other side, more actuators going in, job done. What have we got here? We've got a little pitot tube type thing going in here. We've got 2 more sensors going in here. This is how we've got all these steps. You know, you've got one whole step, which is like 1/3 of the page, just for those 3 little bits. And then moving forward, we're putting the probe on the front. No doubt there'll be an aftermarket one of them. Then we've got the canopy going on, the windshield. No mention of any nose weight I saw. So looks like we're just going to bolt it together. Couldn't see any mention of any nose weight. Nope. And then we've got the actual covers going on for the pilot and the RSO, and then we've got them here in the open position. They are the same parts, it's just with the actuators added, so you could actually probably just pop them in and have them open, and if you want to display it closed, close them down, or even just leave them loose so you can see inside the cockpit. And then here we are again, going all through it again. We're going to build up our stator and our first stage compressor, building up on our exhaust turbine area, and then we're going to start building up our engines. Now this is very weird. They're telling you to paint these engines and actually add this pipework in their quarters. So while they're still in their quarters, I'd be tempted to build the engine up and then add all the detail afterwards. Same here again, adding it up in its quarter, same again in its quarter. I'd be tempted to do all this, build it up, and then add the detail after, so you can deal with the seams and everything. So that's your engines and your exhaust going in, and these are not available to be fitted inside the aircraft, they're just available as spares. I kind of wish Revell had offered the kit without those and give us some money off, because if you just want a model of an SR-71, I don't think you're going to want these plastic engines, and they're going to need a lot of work to make them look accurate anyway. So yeah, building up the stand here, which I won't use. But you've got the stands there for the engines, and then you've got the main stand there for the aircraft itself. Plonking the engines onto the stand, plonking the aircraft onto the stand. So that's one good way of displaying it. If you don't want to use up much area, you can put something else under it. So into the great bit, this is the bit I love here. You've got all the stencils going on. So this is the high visibility version. So this is 69, 61, 7955, 7958 and 7955. So there's two variations of aircraft there. This is 7958, 7955, high visibility, and we've got this white cross underneath. Not quite sure what that was for. I'm sure someone will tell me. But they give me the dimensions there, 19.05 millimeters. You've got to be careful how you measure out your tape. 19.05. It's 19 millimeters. Come on. It's too thick. You know, a hair on your head is 0.1 millimeters. So it's half the thickness of a hair they're specifying there. So there we go. But I suppose if they didn't write that, so actually that stripe was such and such wide, which in 48 scale would be 0.05 bigger than you said. So, and I'm one of them, aren't I? So there we go. So 7958 and 7958. So this is the 7958 version. So this is version 69B. So 7958 and 7955 both have the same stencils and the same white cross underneath by the look of it, but then when you come to 7958 they're going to have different decals, and 7955, okay, 7955 doesn't have the white cross. Okay, so it looks like this decal call out for all the stencils, and the question mark is 7958 only. Okay, that's what they're pointing at there. The white is 7958 only. I didn't spot that. So the white cross is 7958, which is this one. 7955, which is 69C, doesn't have the white cross on the bottom. So here we are to another version now. This is the 7972, which is a 1961 aircraft again, and 7967, and these are low vis. So these are going to have the stenciling on there, which is going to be, I guess, the same, or will it be low vis stenciling? Just looking here, yep, they're all different. So you can see there, along here you've got 40, 48, and here you've got 146, 82. You've got 82s the same, but the rest are all sort of, these are in the 100s and these are all in the singles, in the 10s. So yeah, 7972 and 7967. Option part 36, so you may decide to use that different nose on there. And then we've got 7972 and 7967, so again, stenciling detail is all the same for these two aircraft. And then we've got 7972, which was the New York to London 1 hour 54 minutes, or nearly 55 minutes. And then the 6th of March 1990, Los Angeles to Washington in 64 minutes 20 seconds. Jesus Christ. So that's that one, and that's just your plain black. It's got the Skunkworks decal on there, which is a nice touch. So yeah, built in 61, or commissioned in 61, ordered in 61 should I say. You can tell that from the number. If it's got a 61 at the front, that's the year it was made or commissioned or whatever. And then all the way up to 1990 it was still flying and did the world record 64 minutes Los Angeles to Washington. And then over the page here we've got 7967, which is just an ordinary Edwards Air Force Base Del 2, October 1997. So I'm guessing this is a display aircraft to be that late. I don't think they were flying that late, were they? So that's our instructions looked at. We can put those over there out of the way. We've got a little health and safety sheet there. So our decals, as I said earlier, cartograph, very, very nice sheet. They're going to be lovely because they're cartograph, should I say. We've got decals here for Pilot Lieutenant Colonel Ed Yielding, RSO Lieutenant Colonel Joe Vida. And then we've got Pilot Major Jim Halsell and RSO, sorry, Major Tom Furman. I can't see any other names on here, so obviously they didn't all have their names on them. But we can see, looking around the sheet, we've got a lot of stencil data here. We've got lots and lots of stencil data down here. So this is going to be the low vis stuff, and this is going to be the high vis stuff by the look of it. And then some of the numbers in their 80s were shared, weren't they? So worth getting to really know your decal sheet before you start cutting things up. All our no step marks we got here as decals. You may prefer to paint them. You know, paint a red line, go over some 1mm masking tape, do all your painting, do all your weathering, whatever, and then take them off, and it leaves a lovely sharp red line behind. We've got decals for the instrument panel and the side consoles, which I won't be using. More on that later. And then we've obviously got all our numbers here and everything, high vis, low vis, whatever. So very, very nice indeed. You can have a good close look at them. You can see that they are perfectly in register. The carrier film's nice and thin. You give it a gloss coat. We've got some Skunk Works decals there, which are really nice. You can see on there all the stenciling. Tail flashes there for that last version. And we can see down there 049670240C. And C means their cartograph. So very nice and good. I'll show you the instrument panel. There you go. So they are very nice indeed. So let's have a look at the kit. So here's our, obviously our main fuselage, body house, whatever you want to call it. Very, very nice indeed. You can see how huge it is. You know, you've got your general sort of normal size cockpit here for a 48 scale aircraft, but the rest of it is just massive. We've got some lovely surface detail on here. It's all engraved. And remember, this had some massive joins in it, so these big surface panel joints are going to be correct because they had to allow for expansion and contraction. So, well, not contraction, expansion. You can see we've got engraved surface paneling detail all over it, and it's lovely, very, very nice indeed. Catch it in the light there. You got all this engraved detail on here. Again, I saw a documentary and there was an image, and then all the fuel all pulling out of these joins and running down the back as it was in flight. So where they used to leak. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Obviously no detail inside. You've got the marks there where all the stiffeners are going to go, and we've got 2021 Revell Germany there. So it's as I said, it's a fairly new kit. It's not absolutely brand new. It was a bit delayed. I did contact Germany about getting hold of one of these, and they said they were waiting for China. Now I don't know. It says they were made in Poland. Maybe they're moulded in China and packed in Poland. I don't know. These things here are gates. So these things can be opened and closed. It's like a disc with the hexagonal there for an Allen key, and it's got the 3 gates on it, and basically you can turn that to restrict or allow the flow. So if you've constantly got short shots at this end, okay, what you do is restrict the flow there, and it forces the plastic to travel through the tool better. So that's what they're for. So there you are. So that's the actual main fuselage house. So I'm going to put them down here, and hopefully Jess won't chew them up. So let's have a look at the clear parts first. As I say, they're all bagged up in these sellotaped bags, which is a nice touch, rather than staples, because we all hate staples, don't we? Other than staples are quicker to open. Let's cut these open, shall we? There we go, right. So they're packed together, but if you notice they're packed very cleverly so they can't get scratched. They're packed like that, so they're not in each other, they're not going to get scratched, and then taped up nice and tightly. So when I put them back, I will tape them up. But they are very nice indeed. Clear parts that are very, very clear. See my finger through there. So even if you have them closed, you're going to have a lovely view. Very sharp point on the front of the actual windscreen there, so be careful not to damage that. and then again you've got the you can see we've got a little bit of distortion in that one, but you know, if you're going to display this with them open, it's not going to matter. There's probably distortion in the real thing, because I think the glass was it an inch thick? I saw one of the pilots saying that they could, even though the glass was like an inch thick and laminated, I think it was, you could only hold your hand against the pane for about 8 seconds because it was so hot. Right, so we won't look at that one yet. Let's have a look at this one here. So this bag here is, it's a bit weird. It's full of holes. It's like it's been stapled. They've taped it and it's sort of unfolded itself. That's what's happened. So we'll cut the tape here. Come on, there we go. So we get these out. There's a few sprues in one bag here, which is not favourable. But hopefully everything will be okay because it's all been wrapped up tightly. So first of all, we've got undercarriage legs here. I will give you a close-up in a minute. We've got exhausts there. So I'm guessing these are for the aircraft. And then we've got a separate sprue of parts for the engines there. So here we've got the undercarriage legs, we've got some undercarriage doors by the look of it, a little bit of detail on the inside of them, no ejector pin marks, which is a nice touch. We've got the roof of the undercarriage bay there in the nose, with the 2 oxygen tanks in it, or tanks or something. Parts here, lots of sprue connectors to cut off, and we've got the nose gear there, we've got the probe going on the nose, and some other bits and pieces of greeblies. I'll give you a close-up of all that. You can see there's not a lot to see really, it's all fairly simply detailed, but it is 48 scale, so it's not going to be that fine. But there we go, you can see your exhaust there, you've got all the lovely ribbing down the inside of there. You can hear that in there, you can see it. So that's all nice, it's all raised. Bit of a sink mark at the back, but I don't think you're going to notice that once it's all painted and dry brushed and everything. But do you work on them, they should come out lovely. I just think resin ones would look a lot nicer because they're probably going to be a lot finer detailed. But then maybe these are how they are, who knows. So I got a bit of a mark on that one there. But yeah, there we go. So they're all there, all nice. And then here we've got another sprue. We've got, this is the back of the sprue. They're sort of double-sided really. Here's our main undercarriage bay roofs, which are nice, nicely detailed. Put a wash on them, they're going to look lovely. We've got our nose gear bay doors there with all the detail inside and no ejector pin marks, which is nice. Thank you, Revell. More doors there. That's the walls for the undercarriage bays. I'm not sure if it's the nose or the main. We've got closed undercarriage bay doors here. So that's all for if you're just going to have them closed up. And then we've got the walls of the undercarriage bays there. These are for the main undercarriage bays that sit in the wings. Here's the roofs, as I said. That's the side you're going to see. This is the side that's facing up. We've got the actuators for the nose gear bay there. Walls, I'm guessing, for the nose gear bay. And then we've got some little bits and pieces as the main stub of the nose gear. And then we've got our bulkheads going in there. So all very nice. You can see the detail on those nose gear bay doors is very nice. So there we are. And then the final sprue from this bag we have, I'm guessing this is the pilot's. Just want to be sure. I can't find the cockpit tub. I haven't got a sprue missing. Oh no, there it is. Okay, so it looks like this is the RSO's cockpit here. So we've got lovely raised detail on the side there. We've got an instrument panel there with lovely raised detail. Got some footrest there. Now I'm sure they won't be pedals. There's the bulkhead for the rear, I'm thinking, where the seat's going to go. And then we've got our nose sections here. We've got 2 optional noses here. So you've got this one here, which has got the sort of bulged up area on the top. And then this one here is tapered in. So check your references, choose which one you want. This is the base of the nose. But again, we've got some lovely engraved detail. Got a bit of a flaw in there with some oil in it by the look of it. That's going to be a pain. I may have to drill that out. And you can see in there we've got like a... If you can pick it up on the camera, it's not picking it up at all. That's amazing, you can't see it at all on the camera. But there is like a white spot in the plastic, and it looks like it's got oil coming out of it. So it may be like an inclusion or a bit of dry, plastic from the mould that's got in there. Maybe even a drop of oil. But if I have a problem painting, I have to drill that out and just plug it. But there we go. You can see the instrument panel there, and with all the lovely engraved raised detail on there. And then we've got the actual RSO's cockpit there as well. Again, with all the lovely raised detail on it. So that's that bag. And then I'll have this one here. So we can open this one up. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. There we go. Then slide this great big sprue out. That's a big old sprue, that one. Right, so we'll put that over there. So here we've got obviously we've got the stand, which again, just like with that Saturn I did, if you don't want to use the stand for this, disc of plastic card or fill those slots with whatever, you've got a nice little diorama base for a little vignette or something. So, or you could put another aircraft on it even. So there we go. Very thick, it's quite heavy, but more than capable of holding this aircraft up, so that's nice. Then we've got a funny shaped sprue here. L-shaped sprue, which would indicate that maybe they planned to put something here but didn't. So we've got our vertical tails there. So they're a single piece, there's no halves, no sinkage or anything in there. We've got some control surfaces there if it had control surfaces. I'm sure I heard someone say it doesn't have ailerons, it doesn't have elevators. But then I don't know how it would control its attitude in this car. I'll have to look it up. So we've got rings here for the engines. This is going to be our bulkhead mountings for the engines. And there's our cockpit for the pilot. There's some lovely detail in there. We've got the throttles and everything on the side. You can see there, beautifully moulded. And then you've got all the finely engraved surface detail there on the tails. And on those control surfaces there. All very nicely done. And then here we've got another big sprue. So this is the main, I think this is a bit of overkill to be honest, I don't think it needs this, but you've got this main central spar going down the middle of the fuselage to stop it flexing. We've got all our intake parts here. Unfortunately we have ejector pin marks in them. We've got a part number moulded on the outside, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ejector pin marks in each one. So that's a nice touch. And one of the biggest, deepest one is right at the front. Now I don't know if you're going to see any of this. I don't know if you're going to see past the cones, but they're certainly there, that's for sure. So we've also got these little lumps on here. I don't know if they're supposed to be there. You can see there's lumps just in front of my finger. And then there's some more on here just in front of my finger there. It's a bit strange. But yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to be there or not, if they need to be cleaned off. Unusual for a brand new tool. And then we got our intake cones here that go around the back of the intake cones. These are the Venturis. Such a shame they got ejector pin marks in there. Control surfaces here. That's going to be undercarriage bay, I'm guessing. Again, we got those cones. More bits and pieces. These are fillets for something, for wings or whatever. And then we've got this is the refueling base. You've got it open there with that there, and then that's closed. Looks like the door does fold down into it, so you may decide have it open, add a bit of detail. You've got the instrument panel there for the pilot, so that's all very nice. And then more bits and pieces, control surfaces and stuff. Again, we've got a little bit. We've got some sinkage there from behind the ejector pin mark. It's a bit weird. That's just going to want a little swipe of filler, a little quick rub down. That's nothing. But bit disappointed about the ejector pin marks in the intakes. For a 2021 kit, they should know better. So let's get this one open. And here we go. Jess is enjoying the bags. So this is our final big sprue. So this is going to be our wings, if you like, and here's our engine pods, at the side of the engine pods there, So we've got 3-part engine pods. Got the chines around the outside of them there. Lovely detail on there. We've got some hinge detail where it's opening up and everything. There's not really much you can say because it's also very simple, but you can see all the surface detail on these. If I catch it in the light, it's all very nice indeed. No doubt most of you have seen reviews of this coming out your ears, so you're probably not even going to watch. But you asked for it, so I'm doing it. There you go. So that's that, and then finally we get 2 of these. These are our engine bags. So these are our J58 engines, which you may want to keep for your spares box if you're not going to use the display stand. I think lots of the aircraft of the time used the J58. Nope, it doesn't want to come out because of the sellotape. There we go. There we are. So what we've got here is 3 sprues in one bag, very carefully packaged. So we've got our... these are going to be the intake cones for the actual model. We haven't seen intake cones, have we? So these are actually intake cones, and oh, okay, they're not just engines. These are our cockpit seats, our SO and pilot seats. We've got our wheels there, which have got some nice surface detail on them. Exhausts, stator and first stage compressor. More parts of the exhausts. Yeah, that's the afterburner ring there. And then you've got some actuators there for the undercarriage doors, inside halves of the wheels. And there you go. You can see the lovely detail on those wheels there. So whether you choose to go resin wheel route or not, I don't know, but they look lovely. Remember, these wouldn't be flat spotted because they'd be absolutely solid. And you can see you've got lovely detail there for the compressor blades and your stator there. And you've got part of the exhaust, which is all very nice indeed. So that's lovely. And then you've got more of the same here, and I think that's for the spare engines. So that's for the engines, that's for the kit. 1, 4, 8. Yeah, they're the same part number, so they're going to be identical. So that's just basically what that is. That's that look. Oh no, it's not. It's because this is H and this is G. So it's the same, but with a different letter down at the bottom. So here we go. And then here's our engine halves, or engine quarters. As I say, I'd be tempted to glue the engine quarters together and then do all those seams and then start adding your pipe work and stuff. But they could look nice with some extra detailing. They have got some very, very fine detail on them. As I say, it's all moulded on. But they'd be wonderful for the spares bit of a sci-fi nut. But they'd be great for making a Y-wing or something, I guess. There you go. So that's that, and then finally you've got the same bag there. So that's it, guys. That has been the review of this kit. This is the, as I say, fairly new, not brand new, SR-71A Blackbird from Revell. And yeah, lovely kit. A little bit overpriced perhaps, I think, for, I think it's £89 the retail. As I said, I paid £67 for shop4.com. And yeah, go take a look over there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon with another review. I have some aftermarket for us all to look at, which you're going to like very, very much. Bye for now.